Und Headline ist halt Strategie und Megatrends. Und das wollen wir jetzt mal nach und nach ein bisschen füllen, was man da drin alles packen kann und darunter verstehen kann. Fangen wir damit an. Mit dem ersten Schwerpunkt, die erste Keynote, die kommt jetzt von Monika Schütz. Sie leitet bei Adobe strategische Projekte in Zentraleuropa. Dabei immer im Blick den Mittelstand. Ganz wichtig, den Kunden kennen, den Kundenkontakt und auch die Kundenbeziehungen pflegen. All das sind ja Kernkompetenzen von den vielen Mittelständlern, die hier bei uns in der Region auch zu Hause sind. Und gleichzeitig stehen aber ganz viele vor der großen Herausforderung, wie kann man diese Kundenkommunikation auch transferieren, übertragen ins Digitale und dadurch dann vielleicht und hoffentlich sogar noch verbessern. Das ist die große Frage und die große Herausforderung. Und Monika Schütz sagt, gerade in Zeiten von Corona und Kontaktbeschränkungen, wo man also sich nicht so nah sein kann, ist neben der Notwendigkeit auch eine Chance, das Ganze, diese Beziehung in die digitale Welt zu überführen. Digitalisierung der Kundenkommunikation, vom Erstkontakt bis zur gelebten Kundenbeziehung in der digitalen Welt. Welcome, Monika Schütz.
Hi, it's good to be here today. Thanks for having me. I'm enjoying the idea of bridging the Netherlands and Germany in the summit, not just because I have many good memories of business trips to Eindhoven, but also because in a digitized world, a customer is also crossing country borders. So let's look into successfully digitizing customer communications. My name is Monika Schütz, and I work for Adobe as a special program manager. At Adobe, our mission is to change the world through digital experiences. From the moment you wake up in the morning until you go to bed at night. The media you consume, the ads you see, the apps you use, the website you browse and shop throughout the day, chances are high each of those experiences were touched by Adobe technology. So what is this, digital experiences? What does it mean to create engaging digital customer communications from your first contact to maintaining successful customer relations digitally? Is it as mythically as the Holy Golden Grail? I believe it's really not. The next 20 minutes or so, I will try to refocus your attitude a bit and take out the complexity. What is your goal? Your goal is selling something to a customer. That might be a consumer good, a service, or it might be a difficult and highly expensive custom-made machine. But in the end, you sell it to a person or a group of people respectively. So your goal should be a happy prospect that turns into a happy customer and that stays a happy customer. That is no different if you do business in person or digitally. You have to make it relevant and personal to do your sales. Everything starts and ends with a customer, really. Our enterprise conversations need to revolve around audiences, campaigns, journeys, and lifetime values. Having this common vocabulary about experiences is what breaks down silos and helps us put the customer first. Customers can be consumers, your B2B buyers, decision makers, or a target group like employees or press, etc. They may have different roles and goals, but they all have in common that they are consumers in their spare time and they want to be treated well. Quite easy and bottom line. So start by putting your customers in the center of all your thinking and acting. Let's look into a typical customer journey. The customer life cycle overall, of course, is starting with discovering, going to evaluating your services and offerings, hopefully buying them and then using them. But the journeys of your customers are getting more complex and more individual. Consumers are everywhere, on all channels, mobile, social, and in-store. They have multiple touch points with you. Might be a loyalty program, of course, their purchase histories and support tickets, for example. You see many of those touch points here on that slide. You have information about their shopping carts, You have information when they visit your website, what content they consume, you know when they reach your call center, and so on and so forth. The reality is that as much as brands try to map these stages in a customer's journey, the customer really is in control, and they are charting their own course. They choose when, where, and how they want to engage, and brands have to anticipate this and react in real time. So your first and foremost question should be, who is my customer? If you've heard of customer centricity or customer experience management before, you surely have heard of the concept of personas. A persona is representing basically your target group, and it's there to tailor your content and services to, as long as you don't have really real-time customer profile data at hand. So let's see what a persona for your typical buyer could look like. That's Bobby Buyer. He is male, he's got a master's degree in economics, he speaks 2 languages, he needs to show 5% discount to his boss, and he needs to have 3 different offers. Also, he likes the ease of Amazon shopping in his private life. I mentioned Amazon here because according to Accenture, over 70% of B2B buyers already expect a B2C buying experience by now. But back to our goal to make your prospects happy with your digital communications and offerings. It should be quite easy now to decide what content to prepare for Bobby, right? Well, this is Hank. He is 58 years old, your typical office guy. He's with the company for ages, works at his desk with his desktop computer, and still prints out a lot of his work-related items. Now this is Sven. He's in the same position at the same company. He's in his early 20s though, works on several devices and basically from everywhere, not just the office. And he uses social media for his research. You see, even though they both like shopping at Amazon and would love to see the ease of buying in their work life too, it's extremely important to be aware that they are quite different and to cater for their different needs. You need to reach your customer not just with the right messaging and services, of course, but also on the right device, and in that very moment they are willing to engage with you. So, for example, offer them self-services. Make it easy for them to find you. Explore your offers. Cold calling simply doesn't work anymore because buyers take the time to do research before, and they are ready before you even reach out to them. I'd like to stress this for a moment longer. In the next 4 years, 3/4 of the workforce will be so-called millennials. And it is important to know about the characteristics of millennials. For example, they have a digital-first research approach. They begin the buying process with extensive online research, with 85% of millennials turning to social media, vendor websites, and search engines as their primary source of research. They read reviews, not only about the product, but also about the company, and they prefer video to written documentation. 82% say they also use cell phones as part of the research process. So it's clear you have to prepare content for them. You have to have a mobile-friendly website. You need to prepare videos and not just your typical PDF product sheet, for example. Another characteristic is they go directly to source. They prefer to work directly with the manufacturer than previous generations, who like to work with third parties. 43% of B2B buyers want to buy directly from the manufacturer versus the retailer, and 20% are even willing to pay more for this. And don't forget, it's not just about your product. 80% of millennials like companies whose causes align with their interests on social issues, and that impacts their final purchasing decision. These are some facts, I think, to dwell upon. And this is all true even before the COVID-19 pandemic arose. So now we enter 2020. We all know shops have been closed, and even now in 2021, they are only slowly reopening. As aggressive as the shift to digital was for B2C brands in the past year, the shift for B2B companies was even more dramatic, with the loss of in-person events and interactions. Overnight, B2B companies had to grapple with how to build trusted relationships in a digital-only world where they have less access to the customer, less control of the journey. What we know for certain from our own experiences here is, if digital transformation was ever a nice to have, it's not anymore. It has become an absolute necessity. No personal contact means reaching and interacting with your customer digitally is an absolute must-do because it is often the only option you have. To put some data to what we personally experience at work at home, Adobe and eConsultancy have conducted some research. The Digital Trends Report is based on an online survey and panel interviews from mid-October 2020 to mid-December, with over 13,000 qualified responses. From that report, I'd like to specifically draw your attention to the changes in customer behavior. All of these segments, B2B, B2C, consumer goods, manufacturing, they all show an unusual change of customer behavior. All segments show a huge increase in digital customer, which is not surprising. It also shows, though, unusual customer churn and unusual buying behavior from existing customers too. This means two things. You have got a high risk of losing some customers and need to look even closer into your customer journeys and needs. But on the same hand, it's a great chance to win over new customers and retain them if you adopt your digital communications and services. The report also says that in the last 9 months of 2020, companies were innovative by necessity, with half of senior managers saying that it was the most innovative period they had experienced in their companies. So regardless of where your company is on its journey, the ability to accelerate this transformation and ultimately build that much sought after customer loyalty is absolutely critical. The only road to success is knowing your prospects and customers and empathy to transform your existing successful customer relations from analog to digital, no matter if you're in B2B, B2C, or both. It is now the best time to build customer relations for the future. What is the path to do this? First and foremost, it requires full buy-in and support from the top of your company. And that needs to be coupled with consistent communication and transparency to the organization all along the way. Second, it needs a relentless commitment to the customer experience. And finally, a strategy that encompasses people, process, and technology. When it comes to your people, this means a culture that embraces change and a responsibility to ensure your employees have the right digital skills. In terms of process, you must develop norms that continuously encourage stakeholders across the business to surface data-driven insights to inform and execute on your customer experience strategy. And finally, you must have a strong technology foundation as a prerequisite to operationalize around customer data. So how do you build this modern customer experience management system? How do you ensure it is future-proof? For starters, we need to radically deepen our understanding of who your customer is. I've spoken about this. To do this, we need to monitor every touch point across physical and digital channels and recreate their personas in bits and bytes to come up with a real customer profile. We need to then personalize their touches in real time and anticipate their needs. And if this wasn't enough, we need to do all this while navigating privacy laws and data policies. Easy, right? Well, don't worry. We believe digital marketing is a real growth driver for many mid-market companies. MarTech tools help reach more customers, understand them better, and communicate with them in real time across multiple channels, easily, efficiently, and internationally. Because you can identify your market potential at an early stage. Think of this like if you hadn't have a compass, you would be lost in the 7 seas. And now here with digital world, this is the same if you don't have data analysis. Digital marketing now helps you to enable real-time analysis and make decisions. Customer data and processes, they have to be trustworthy with certainty. So of course, data protection is not negotiable, and it shouldn't be an excuse for any bad customer contact. Coupled with your internal process security, it's a prerequisite for future competitiveness. In the middle, you see economic growth. It gives you a good chance to build new structures and grow and expand. Digitization is not an end to itself, of course. It can help you grow your business for different brands, for different regions, for new channels. Future-proof technology. Use something because in a sustainable IT looks different from every company. Look out for solutions that provide you the flexibility you need with your individual needs, but also make sure it is something you can grow with. And lastly, MarTech technology gives you access to the customer because you're actually seen. Relevant addressing of customers with engaging and relevant content at the right time on the right channel is key. So ensure to bet on solutions that enable data-based, personalized contact adapted to individual markets. In the beginning, I told you I want to take out the complexity. So this is it. Have your customer in mind and simply start to build a digital foundation for your business. Create contact once, deploy it across all customer interactions, including those online and offline, for consistent experience. Then personalize them, use context to deliver personalized experiences and increase customer engagement. Use an intelligent system to predict and match customers with the appropriate experience and deliver it in real time. Measure what's happening. Continuously track and measure all your customer interactions against your KPIs. Aggregate your customer traits from various touchpoints and sources to create a unified customer profile. Lastly, optimize. Use testing, data-driven insights to fine-tune your experiences to drive higher customer conversion and loyalty. Using cloud software and blueprints, take out the complexity whilst also being future-proof. A project for this can go live within a few weeks so that you have fast time to market and return on investment. I can advise you to use the so-called MVP approach, minimal viable product. Ask yourself what is it that helps your customer most whilst giving you instant return. Start with this, learn and adapt, and then grow. This is so much better than 2 years complexity projects that often end up with digital offers that don't fit to your customers' actual needs. When you do that, you can also take on the next chapter and improve your customer journeys throughout the normal customer lifecycle from acquisition to adoption and engagement. You might remember that chart in the beginning with a complex customer journey. With such infinitely variable and dynamic customer paths, you need a tool that helps you go from just managing individual campaigns to fully intelligent customer journey orchestration. As with everything you heard from me so far, again, it's the customer who sits in the center of it to get unified user experiences. Orchestrate for the scheduled audience-oriented engagements as well as one-to-one real-time interactions. Coming to an end, I would like to sum this up. For a successful digital customer relations, there are some key takeaways that you should have in mind and that your MarTech stack should cover. Happy customers demand a good customer experience. So know your customers, you should impactfully engage with them, and of course, you should continuously learn and optimize your offerings so each experience you provide is better than the last. I believe these should be your 3 guiding principles for building and maintaining successful customer relations. And to get started, these really are the 5 steps. Analyze your customer needs and journeys. Create relevant and inspiring content. Start building real customer profiles by enhancing them with each interaction. Integrate your tools and break down internal silos. Lastly, learn and adapt. Start small and fast. Measure, learn, and continuously improve. Then you can easily add more. Thank you for listening. I hope this was insightful for you, and I'm happy to answer some questions.
Thank you, dear Monika Schütz. Vielen Dank. Es war wirklich sehr interessant. Ich fand, es war auch gerade nochmal sehr gut hinten diesen kleinen Fahrplan zusammengefasst. Vielen Dank. Also ich glaube, da haben schon ganz viele Teilnehmer ganz viel mitnehmen können. Und jetzt freue ich mich sehr, dass Sie noch einen Moment Zeit haben. Wir haben auch eine Frage bekommen. Die würde ich jetzt direkt an Sie weitergeben. Ist das in Ordnung für Sie?
Wunderbar, so machen wir das.
Okay, also und zwar die Frage lautet, wie wird denn aus Ihrer Sicht die Kundenkommunikation in 10 Jahren aussehen, gemessen an der Entwicklung der Digitalisierung, die wir jetzt schon haben?
Also ich glaube, wir werden schon nochmal einen riesigen Shift wirklich auch erleben. So wie wir das jetzt ja auch gerade wirklich über die letzten 12 Monate erlebt haben, hat sich einfach so viel getan, was sonst vielleicht eher eine Entwicklung von 3 bis 5 Jahren gewesen wäre, jetzt eben tatsächlich in ein paar wenigen Monaten passiert ist. Insofern werden wir auch bei dieser Kundenkommunikation einfach nochmal einen schnellen Boost sehen. Und mit Sicherheit ist, was ich jetzt ja hier auch gerade mal vielleicht für die Firmen, die, wie gesagt, damit anfangen, aufgezeichnet habe, die jetzt eben sozusagen ihr digitales Fundament bauen, auch dort wird man natürlich einfach noch zusätzlich, sag ich mal, Services dazu bekommen, weil gerade die kleinen Firmen ja auch kämpfen mit sozusagen wenigen Kollegen, die sozusagen für dieses Thema zuständig sind. Und da kann natürlich auch Technologie helfen, durch Machine Learning und ähnliche Themen, auch die Arbeiten wirklich von den Marketing- und Sales-Teams einfach abzunehmen. Also da werden wir schon noch eine ganze Menge erleben, denke ich.
Sie haben vor dem Vortrag gesagt, digitale Kommunikation ist kein Nice-to-have mehr, sondern ein Must-have. Also wir kommen nicht mehr drum herum. Was raten Sie denn Unternehmen, die sagen, Mensch, ich würde jetzt gerne damit anfangen, weiß aber nicht genau wie? Also da ist auch eine Angst, glaube ich, manchmal da.
Ganz genau, ja. Ich habe versucht, am Schluss da noch mal ein bisschen drauf einzugehen. Genau. Es gibt dieses Minimal Viable Product sozusagen als Grundidee, dass man sich wirklich überlegt, okay, welches sozusagen meiner Angebote, die ich habe, sozusagen ist für meine Kundengruppe eben das Relevanteste, mit was kann ich sozusagen starten, dass ich da wirklich überlege, ist es jetzt einfach eine Kommunikation, dass ich sichtbar werden will und sozusagen mal ganz klein mit einer Webseite starte, oder ist es tatsächlich ein Shop, den ich irgendwie innerhalb von ein paar Wochen eben möchte, um mal, weiß ich nicht, mit eben 20% meines Materials sozusagen an den Start zu gehen, dass man dann online kaufen kann und darüber dann halt aber wirklich lernen und sich eben auch tatsächlich auch solche, ich habe es genannt, Blueprints, man kann es auch Lieschen-Müller-Sorglos-Pakete, es gibt halt einfach solche Vorlagen, die man nutzen kann, die man nutzt, also als Basis nutzt und dann daraus lernt, wie wird es überhaupt angenommen und dann eben sich zu verbessern. Also da einfach wirklich genau diese Sorge rausnehmen, nee, ich brauche kein 2 Jahre Projekt, sondern ich kann mit kleinen Themen starten. Es gibt Vorlage, es gibt wirklich gute Implementierungspartner, die das nur irgendwie oft machen, auch gerne manchmal zum Festpreis eben anbieten, hey, in 6 Wochen bist du live und kannst starten.
Und auch in kleinen Teams, ne? So habe ich das gerade verstanden. Man kann einfach den Mut haben anzufangen, auch in kleinen Teams.
Ja, das ist ganz wichtig. Also wie gesagt, ich habe das ja vorhin schon mal so erwähnt, es gibt jetzt oft einfach gar nicht mehr die Möglichkeit, also es gibt keine Messen mehr, wo man sozusagen seine Produkte zeigen kann. Auch da muss man sich ja überlegen, okay, wie kann ich dann aber trotzdem vielleicht meine Maschine, über die ich vorher gesprochen habe, die irgendwie kompliziert ist, trotzdem erlebbar machen? Nutze ich dafür vielleicht Video, nutze ich Virtual Reality? Mehr als dieses sozusagen reine Produktdatenblatt, sondern was kann ich eben klein machen, damit ich am Schluss eben mein Produkt, mein Service auch an den Mann bringen kann.
Frau Schütz, ich sehe gerade, ich habe hier keine weitere konkrete Frage direkt gekommen, aber haben Sie noch ein bisschen Zeit, dass Sie im Chat noch da sind, falls Sie jemand jetzt noch ansprechen möchte, oder ist es möglich, Sie zu erreichen?
Ich bleibe gerne noch ein bisschen dabei, ja. Ich freue mich auch schon auf den nächsten Vortrag hier, da bin ich noch ganz neugierig.
Ich frage mal gerade meine Regie, ob wir denn auch direkt weitermachen können. Hier wird genickt und ich sehe auch schon den nächsten Speaker. Sehe ich das hier richtig? Ich glaube, ich kriege hier auch Daumen hoch aus der Regie. Frau Schütz, ich bedanke mich sehr für Ihre Zeit und Ihren Vortrag.